team when it comes to EMEA and possibly worldwide, but Crazy Raccoons coming in and playing on blind and showing us a couple of different things to what we expected, let's say.
Yeah, for sure. Like, they've got a completely different composition to what they normally run. They have a player in, if I'm not mistaken, Neth doesn't normally play on this map. It's normally Minty. So they've gone for a lot of changes when it comes to bind. And they had to, because this is a map that they really don't play. So the fact that they've tried to switch things up so rapidly, they've gone for a double duelist, even throwing the Sky in as well. It makes it exciting. I don't know if it makes it good.
Right, where are your expectations coming into this before we really delve deep into the pistol? Do you see GAMBIT winning this one easily?
Yes.
Or okay, right, well, we won't even get the second bit out. Perfect. A minute left on the clock as we chime into the pistol. And we've had Munchkin in that early fight go down on B long. Other than that, it has been a very stagnant round. And for those of you of the international audience who it could be your first time seeing GAMBIT, this is how they play. Pistols, rifles, it doesn't matter. They will run that clock down, bait you into a fight, and, well, this time, at least Fisker's able to get away with his life.
Yeah, the patience can sometimes come back to bite them, but the fact that they've managed to find the opening duel is definitely a good sign. I like that Crazy Raccoon are trying to be proactive, though, but with the peak that they've just made, I question if they're going to start falling back to the A side. They didn't spot anyone into long mid. You go, okay, they were there initially. That probably means they've rotated off. In fact, it's just a re-aggression through hookah.
Yeah, these players coming out with 15 seconds left. Addy's able to take himself a double, and Fisker's still here to try and run the clock down, but Redgar and Nats show up just in time. 2 seconds left as the spike goes down, but now they're in trouble. Neth, 1 versus... Never mind. That was a little bit of an awkward fight.
The answer was 2 to that
The answer was, I was hoping we'd get a 1 out of that, but no bullets connected on that ranged fight. And so GAMBIT walk away with the pistol. This is exactly the GAMBIT that we expected. We're not just talking agent comps, but finding the opening duel, slowing down the round, and running it to the last 20 seconds before they make a push. This is how they play.
Yeah, well, a plant at 7 seconds for most of the team is a little bit worrying. GAMBIT, that's early, if anything. Like if it's not past 5, then they're not even pushing the boat out. But yeah, nice attempt by Addy though. The fact is, I think they baited the rotations excellently when it came to the GAMBIT side. But the problem obviously is that, well, by that point there was only 1 member left on the site. The fact he gets 3 kills, impressive.
Well, yeah, it was a valiant effort, let's say, but this time around, no reward. Now, Crazy Raccoons are left down onto just pistols with 4 classics to play with. It is going to be a pretty tough round for them to find any value in. And that's why we see this stack up towards the B side. They're hoping that GAMBIT will make the mistake of running in through hookah and give them the opportunity to pick them off with that classic crossfire. But as they see nothing into the late round and the flash on long, it's nothing either, they will start to push on down. And this timing is expected. GAMBIT are looking at it, and short of some whipped shots, it should be clean. Bassy's gotten a kill and he's away with his life. Even a headshot to Chronicle and 20 health left on him. I mean, this could have been very costly, and it still could be.
1 enemy remaining.
Yeah, slowly we start to see normality, I guess, turn back into the round for GAMBIT, getting themselves a 4 versus 1. Fisker, if he gets a kill here, that's a win. Like, if they can drop a couple of weapons, they're coming back with a 4-buy in the next round. So, if anything, you could say the context is key.
It absolutely is, Tom. We know that for sure. In this round here, Fisker's chances, though, are very, very slim, and that's the context he's playing with. Little flash out, try to grab himself a cheeky blinded opponent. Oh, I like this. A good attempt, but runs into Nats with a hawk out. 2-0 we go. An expected second round for GAMBIT. They lose 1 player, and as you said, had they have taken down that second with just 20 HP left on Chronicle, it could have been great. But this is where the meat of the game really starts. Pistols are so-so, but this is where the rifles come into the hands of Crazy Raccoons.
Yeah, this is where we actually get to see the meat of the game, what this team is actually made of. Like, I think in reality, if they can go close versus GAMBIT, that's a good sign. I will, however, put out almost just a little caveat that GAMBIT are one of those teams that up until they qualified from EMEA, or yeah, up until the point where they were through, all the games were incredibly close. Like the game they had versus Liquid literally ended in multiple overtimes and them almost going out of the tournament. Even before that, the teams that they faced, it wasn't a clean victory. So it's possible that they feel the pressure a little bit here being on that stage, and I almost want to see them prove us wrong with that by just going into this game ham.
Got some Zed skins already being shown off by these guys.
They are very pretty.
They really are. Moments like this, I wish I brought my laptop with me, Tom. Gotta.
I actually need to buy them. I've got my laptop
before we
with me.
forget, I end up buying the whole pack one by one. It'll be a Reaver Vandal situation all over again. Well, with a minute left on the clock, Crazy Raccoon's just tucking in. They know exactly what GAMBIT like to do. They're aware of the slow play. They haven't managed to get Nats in. This is spotted by Addy. He knows that he's about to take a fight, but he's taken down by a wide swing out of Nats. A quick kill, and possibly an upgrade in a moment. This could get a little bit dangerous.
Yeah, the control he has makes things a little bit awkward. Rotation already coming through. Nice work from Neff, though. The blast back in. The aftershock, I think, of his teammate actually going to hold him back a little bit longer. And it's a shaky fight, but they're on the defuse. Nats is going to have to go running through his own utility just to try and get that little bit closer, and he will be sectioned off. It's left all onto Shados, and he doesn't stand a chance. A great start for Crazy Raccoon as they will get themselves their first round onto the board and keep it fairly clean.
Yeah, absolutely. 4 players left alive and a Blade Storm online for Munchkin. I mean, they can avoid investing into this round if they drop over the rifle and play the Blade Storm. That's a fantastic start. You really couldn't wish for much better, especially considering the context of how it started. They get towards the site. They even find the kill with Nats creeping in through lamps. And yet in the end, it goes the way of the Japanese side. Now moving into round number 4, GAMBIT will have their own full buy-up, having pretty much no reward out of their bonus.
Yeah, the thing is, though, they're also very close to a lot of ultimates. Seeker's one-off, Viper's Pit as well, not too far off even a Hunter's Fury, so there could be a lot of problems coming through in just a moment for Crazy Raccoon if they don't manage to find anything within this round. They're actually going to get a little bit aggressive, and you know what? Defo was having none of it. He's just gone straight through the smoke. It's an audacious push, but it's almost what we come to expect from someone like Defo.
Sure is. Defo is.
That's what you're going for. Okay, okay.
Yeah, we'll start it slow. We'll start it slow. Nats taken down right away. Munchkin is getting away with a lot here before Defo eventually takes him down and puts GAMBIT with the man advantage. You'll notice that a lot of the time when a fight like that comes in, you've got 2 picks. This is where teams really huddle up. They start to move towards the site. But again, this is the team that we're looking at. GAMBIT,
it's not 20-second
slow
mark, Mitch.
And steady. There's 45 seconds left. That's basically the buy time.
Yeah, they got ages to play with. Now, Bazzy's in a decent spot. He has a fair amount of utility to try and slow them down, but he almost has to act, I was going to say, as a sentinel. Instead, he's been instantly removed, and the remaining 2 players are still to rotate. Okay, sure, maybe the paint shells can do a little bit to try and do some damage, but forcing them back isn't going to do too much unless they can find themselves a pick here, and all the angles are covered. Neff still manages to find a pick, though, but the blast pack doesn't grant him anymore. Defo with a triple, 1 HP for Redgar, and more importantly, a third attacking round. And I think that's something we also need to mention is GAMBIT's attack's not normally great, so even 5 or 6, I would say that they're in a very good spot.
Yeah, most definitely. One of the other things when you look at Crazy Raccoons, the abilities, or the agents rather, that they're coming in with, it's effectively, as we were talking about earlier, kind of a triple duelist lineup. Sure,
yeah,
you'll look at Skye in a lot of these lineups and think she can, in situations, be used as a duelist, but when you have a breach as well, your responsibilities are, well, they're much more lax in a lot of the scenarios. So it gives them the freedom to flex it up a little bit. Munchkin's already going down mid. Look at this guy go. They've had the flash to cover him as he crosses over, but nothing spotted with the Blade Storm.
I think it's also worth mentioning the player that is picking up Skye, which is Fisker, who is normally the duelist for the team. So he's not someone who is in that supportive role for Crazy Raccoon a lot of the time. So you can almost look at this effectively as a triple duelist, and then even not a sentinel, unless you're going to say maybe they're using Breach and Astra as sentinels. So they don't really have a lot of stopping power on their defensive side, which is going to basically make them go more aggressive than they might like to be, which we've seen teams try to do to GAMBIT before, Mitch. It doesn't really work.
Well, see, that's the problem. This sort of a composition, and you touched on it exactly. When you're playing like this, when you're not playing with a Sentinel or even just a Viper in there to help out, you're kind of at the mercy of your opponent's attack. You have to go and try to seize some ground, and up against GAMBIT's slow default play, that's exactly what they want you to do. They're gambling on it. Look at this dash into side from Defo. 40 seconds left. They're really upping the pace. It's a bookie in towards Hookah, so not the biggest of threats, and they'll look to deal with him before things can get a little too risky. At least they normally would, but they're TPing. It's a big fake, and it looks like Crazy Raccoons have fallen for it, rotating the majority of their forces, leaving just Addy up here in the corner, and the Sheriff, sadly, not enough to get it done. Quick rotation has come in with Bazzy wanting to get some damage in. but I don't think he's going to really have the opportunity. Guardian in hand. He wants to get back towards his teammates and help them entry. The fault line does it. Oh no, it caught Munchkin! Oh, that's the worst case scenario, really. That is an unfortunate run. At least it wasn't a full buy.
That is true. That is true. There's the small silver lining that I don't think they're going to be too happy with it either way, especially considering he was the one with the most valuable weapon they had. It was also a bit of an odd cosmic divide. Like we saw that go through to almost just section things off from the defense, but they did it once. Defo on the other side was already into the site, so he was like past the cosmic divide, so it kind of held a bit of a weird ground and almost helped with the rotation back, not having that extra information of how far they'd gone the other way. So a bit of an odd round, but luckily we now come back in with the purchase. We've also got the operator and onto Defo though, and with how aggressive the defense has been so far, I think he's just going to wait and hope that someone pushes into his crosshair.
Well, yeah, you would guess so. A minute 30 on the clock. They won't be going anywhere anytime soon. Constantly using the Sky on the attack side in the early rounds here. The important thing for Gambit here is that they have a cycle of utility. They can use their Sky to try and flash you out in the early stages of the round just to get the information. Now, for example, they know these guys aren't pushing up bat. They're not playing close. That flash will be online by the time that they come to pushing that. So it's very valuable map control to have in the early round. And now as it's pushed back into, Shados is more than ready to take this duel. He's even going to pop another flash, which blinds the player towards the back. And here comes the execute.
Yeah, they've used a cosmic divide of their own. This one always makes me a little bit uncomfortable because you can pop flash through it, but every single timing peak was perfect. And of course, Nats, the man just doesn't miss. He's just wiping them all down. It's very individualistic though from Crazy Raccoon. One by one they peek into this man, and no surprise, one by one they fall. Okay, Redgar didn't expect anybody to be that far behind at that stage.
An ambitious flank play for sure. I have to say, when you look at Gambit's play in the early round, that round right there, I mean, it's just so nice, man. You see Shados flashing into bat the first time, sections it off, knows, okay, next 20 seconds or so, there's not really going to be anyone pushing through. Then goes for a second flash. That blinds up Neth, so they know he's in there. Cosmic Divide down, they rush in, they take Neth down, and then that's when you see the other player try to come through to trade his teammate, but Nats is just on a swivel, taking that kill as well. I mean, obviously they're getting out of here with at least two. Let's see if it's all three. Bazzi doing quite a bit of damage on that one, but ultimately, having already given Gambit 5 rounds, the economy is going to be the least of their concern.
Yeah, like at this stage, this is already a good half of their attack.
Yeah, and look at Nats, man, he's on fire.
Yeah, I feel like this is one of those maps as well where we talk about his his Cypher play and how good it normally is. But I enjoy his Viper too, like especially what he does with the poison orbs when he's looking to lurk around, try and make a play into lamps. It's like, oh, I'll push forward, I'll throw it down, and then just as you're about to peek, I'll pick it back up, and you'll be left almost like with your trousers down, like someone's just unveiled you in the bathroom, and you're like, oh dear.
I'll tell you, the second I see this comp come out of Crazy Raccoons, I'm just thinking their defense is going to be hell. Like, Gambit's, like, literally, what we always talk about Gambit, slow default, and Crazy Raccoons pick a comp where they're like, okay, we gotta get aggressive in the early round. Yeah, it's
get in their faces!
Well, hey, I respect it. Come in with confidence, right? Say, hey, no one's ever tried this before. This is probably why. It's 5-1, and we're looking at a pretty mixed buy out of the defensive side. They've got a Vandal, and then it devolves pretty quickly. Gambit, no surprise.
Bucky, you know, Bucky it's still popular, right? People still use that.
Definitely, but they do have a showstopper to play with on Neth as well, and that's where you could see some serious impact out of this round. He's actually getting in position now, having been spotted out with the Bucky. And look, they've seen a Bucky towards Hookah, and the response is, let's rush him down, at least for a moment. But they flash it, see he's not up close, and they'll just back on off.
Again, I like the re-aggression. At least not allowing that much control, but the fact is, with how much we're seeing Gambit show themselves over towards the B site, I don't think we've had a gamble stack on A in pretty much any round. Like, they haven't had those early rotates, and it's going to leave just two players to try and hold on to this one. 25 seconds, this is time for Gambit to get it going, and they're going to make their move in towards A.
All the ultis are on B. Rolling Thunder, Showstopper. These could help to stop the push at the 15-second mark. The problem is, they're nowhere nearby, and as they get into position, Rolling Thunder, that could actually cancel it. It will. 9 seconds now as they go for it. All Crazy Raccoons need to do is stop the plant, but they can't get in there in time. And now it is just an absolute slaughter for Gambit, picking up a 6th round and looking untouchable on the attack.
Yeah, we still have to premise this with the fact that I think Crazy Raccoon have gone for a little bit of an audacious setup in an attempt to try and play a map that they don't really play. Like, even within their own region, this is basically their perma ban, so I don't want to write them off just yet. I don't want anybody to be looking at this and going, this team up against GAMBIT, not really getting anything done, because I do think we'll see a little bit more on the next map. In fact, going into Icebox, I will always remember some of the cool little shock darts we saw coming through from the Japanese side, or the Japanese with a couple of Korean players in there. They always had a lot of cool ideas when it came to that map. Not so much on Bind.
I like the star placement that we got to see at the very start of this round. You're putting them inside the teleporters, stopping them from, for example, over on B long, if they go for the aggressive play that you'll typically see, especially with a Jet, of tucking into the corner and looking for those angles. They won't be able to get anything done. A lot of really interesting setups come out of GAMBIT on the attack, and really I think we're only scratching the surface. Their A plan of slow default into allowing your opponent to aggress and then taking them down afterwards with some micro executes on parts of the map control, like what we saw on Bath and Long. It's just working flawlessly. They don't even need to think about this, but the other team definitely does. That's why we have a timeout called in here for Crazy Raccoons as they attempt to figure out a way to get any rounds on the board. Yeah,
the scary thing right now is, based on what we know about GAMBIT, their defense is always going to be incredibly strong. Like, we have seen them turn games from ridiculously far behind on the defense, on the attack, and then have an incredible defense half anyway. So they're in a very, very good spot. At the same time, if we can get a bit of momentum going, at least for Crazy Raccoon, like start getting some of the players on the board that we know can perform to a high-level standard, then it might set them up at least a little bit for the second half. But right now, I feel like we're almost just in GAMBIT's realm. Like, you're playing into their hand. They're waiting patiently for you to make those moves. And I think the thing that I've loved about this team for a very, very long time is, one of the things we always had, even with old CIS rosters or slow rosters in general, is that you'd get to those last 10 seconds, maybe they panic a little bit. Well, GAMBIT don't panic. Like, they just get into those last 6 seconds. They're like, good, I've still got another 2 seconds to spare.
Now, it looks like the timeout, which was originally tactical, is going to shift a little bit towards the technical, so they'll need just a little minute. But I'm sure the players are definitely going to be appreciative of a moment to think about how they can change this up. When it comes down to this map, it really is a tough one up against GAMBIT. Any given day, any team in this world, I reckon, will have a tough time in beating GAMBIT when it comes to Bind, and especially with all these new things that Crazy Raccoons are trying to deploy, that, as we said, seem to just play perfectly into the hands of their opponents.
Well, that was the thing with the veto. I was looking at it and going, oh, why would they ban Ascent instead? And then I was like, actually, GAMBIT are really good on Ascent. I think the only team that have ever scored them on it was Supermassive Blaze, and that was I think that was the biggest shock we had in all of EMEA. It was like that 13-1 game. I was like, this isn't right. Like, this doesn't happen. And then they won the series. Like, that was the weirdest thing about it, even winning a map. Like, we saw in the veto that Haven was banned. That's no surprise for GAMBIT. They've been a team that have basically pugged it the last 2 times with just, like, weird setups. This man on your screen here, normally the smoker for the side, the controller was going, you know what? I'm playing Jet. I'm playing Reyna. So that being out of the pool is no surprise, but I do worry a little bit, because although, like, you kind of look at this matchup and go, Icebox, it's definitely not the strongest map for GAMBIT. It's still a map that they can compete with pretty much everybody within EMEA. Like, it's not like they're getting boomed out of the server. They've still beaten teams like Liquid. They just had some problems versus the likes of G2 and Ascend. So we'll see. Like, I'm hoping for a little bit better. It is still early days, but you never know.
I'll tell you what, you can definitely tell that the spirits are very different between the two teams. Crazy Raccoons at the moment, 6-1 down, having found very little to work with, are obviously now just stewing in that defeat. They can think about it individually in terms of what they want to do moving forward, sure, but, I mean, there's only so many ideas you can bring to the table. They definitely want to get right back into the game. GAMBIT, on the other hand, they're in high spirits. They're throwing out waves. I mean, we just had a little wave with some of the players there. They're in high spirits, feeling good, big smiles, and that's not going to be great.
Yeah,
really,
look at the smile on Nats's face. He's ecstatic right now.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
I wonder if he, like, won the lottery, he'd just raise one eyebrow. Like, just very slightly. That's all it would be.
Good, yeah.
It just... this is the best day of my life.
Yeah, no, I am very pleased. I mean, I loved it earlier. You saw the celebration. Y'all at home would have seen it as well. Just as they went to go to their seats, they all put their fists in, and everyone was, I think it was like, a hoo. And Nats didn't care. He was, okay, guys, we're making noises. We're expressing. No, we don't do that.
I'm a cold-blooded
I'm here for the
killer.
fist bumps. That's it. That's all he's about for.
That's the thing, though. I think that's always a cool concept because you have those players that are very emotional, but they'll be up and down. Like, you have those performances where they're in the groove, they get things rolling, and they're incredible. Then you have the other games where things start a little bit poorly.
Is that a smile?
Maybe they knock the desk a little bit. Maybe they get frustrated. Maybe they damage a piece of equipment. Nats is somehow performing to the ability of someone who is always in a positive mood, and yet when you watch him, he's just like, yeah, no, that was cool. I enjoyed that one. I've just made one of the plays of the tournament, but whatever.
Yeah, no, this is what he does, and that's it, right? To us, it's spectacular. You see some of these plays, you think, wow, that's blowing my mind, but for him, it's like, yeah, it's just another game, man. It's just another
game, another round.
I do this every round. Don't worry about it. And so far, he has been on fire, right? We saw him hit double digits very, very early on. He was on those 10 kills within the first couple of rounds, and over on the Crazy Raccoon side, it is very important to paint a picture for the people at home that this is not a map that we expected them to come in. I mean, I didn't even get to offer you an alternative solution. I said, are GAMBIT going to destroy them on this map? And immediately, yes, there was no or in there. And it really does show when we looked at the veto beforehand. We expected this to be the way that things go. I think everybody did, including Crazy Raccoons. That's why we see this kind of crazy mashup. They're trying to make something work, maybe catch them off guard, and if that doesn't work, well, it was still an admirable try. You move on to the next map, and we've heard it in interviews earlier on as well, and throughout this tournament, throughout the entirety of VCT this year, that this level of teams, they don't sit back when they lose a map or when they get a veto that has the first one that's clearly favored to their opponents and say, oh, well, I guess we're done. We're out of this one. They're always able to count themselves into the game and push forward. And in the case of Crazy Raccoons, I have no doubt that that's going to be the case. This is a team that's already performed on the international stage. It's not someone that's brand new to this level of competition.
I'm curious. I know that you're Mr. Controversial over here. I know that we have some North Americans on the desk. What do you think's happening in the game later on? And I know that we got some Brazilian boys in the server as well. Who do you think's winning that one, Mitch?
Who do I think's winning?
Yeah. I know you're wearing a little bit of green today. Is that a sign?
Perhaps it is. Perhaps it is. Vamos. It's going to be, I mean,
there's going to be some heat in the server. That's what people are saying.
Vivo Keita clearly taking it later on. Come on. Envy coming in all form as hell. But let's not, you know what? Actually, it's fine. I can say it now. The NA guys are still asleep, so we're good to go for a little bit before we get the angry tweets later on. We got to tame it in a little bit. So as I was saying to you guys, there's a little bit of an issue with one of the players' PCs during that initially tactical timeout. They had a little bit of a communication problem, so they're getting that fixed as we speak. Unfortunately, these things happen at LAN. They happen at home a whole hell of a lot more frequently, so I'm happy to be here. And you know what, Tom? We'll wait no longer. Back into the game we go. 6-1 when we left, and Crazy Raccoons were just about to get a full buy. You see the weapons in their hands. You see that beautiful showstopper is still online, and so far it's been on B when GAMBIT have gone A. I regret to inform you, Tom, that it's on A as GAMBIT look fondly towards the B side.
Here.
Yeah, they don't really have much to play with on this side. Maybe the Seekers can give them at least a little bit of something. Munchkin going to be spotting. Fisker has actually found the opener as well, which is something we haven't seen too much. GAMBIT have got off to a very good start in the majority of these rounds. So the fact they found the opening pick, it means that GAMBIT are going to have to be a little bit more proactive, a little bit more aggressive, and sometimes that's where they suffer. However, Defo traded things back very quickly.
Munchkin unluckily hitting the shot through the wall, so it's not a kill, but Defo's shots definitely are. A 4 versus 2 comes out of absolutely nowhere. The showstopper still in play for Ned, but does he deploy it? No, he absolutely doesn't, because Defo takes him down before he can even reach for his keyboard.
And they just like, nope. No, you know what? Nope. I'm going back.
3-man stack on B, Tom. You have the stack up. You get the opening pick onto Redguard. That eliminates the smokes from your opponents, because don't forget, we had already seen GAMBIT put that Viper wall down on the A side, as they like to do in the majority of rounds. And even despite that massive disadvantage, they just run over the site like water. In fact, Defo is hunting so aggressively with this op. He wants the ace out of this, but he'll be sideswiped at the last moment. And that could be a saved operator over on the Crazy Raccoon side.
It could be. It could be if they want to, which financially they may not have necessarily been in the spot to try and keep it. And Nats isn't gonna care anyway.
Of course, he runs through an Astra Smoke and gets the kill. I mean, it is Nats after all. And look at how free an open Defo
what?
to take these kills.
Wait. Roll that one back. What was that one?
He saw a pixel, man.
No. I need that one again. What was that one? It just headshot him through the top of the tube.
He saw a fiber of hair poke out above the top and somehow managed to connect that shot. And this is Defo on form. This is Defo in his comfort zone. And the entirety of GAMBIT, in fact. You were talking about Brazil just a moment ago. I mean, it is 7-1, Tom, so it's fitting.
Ah, you're trying to get every single... trying to get every single...
Hey. I said Vivo were going to win, so they can't be mad at me, all right?
I do not condone that
Take
message.
the good with the bad.
They need to go back to their champion of Rivington. Nice shot, though. Okay, Bazzy, Munchkin finding a couple. Shados at least available on the trade, and the showstopper, it's finally been popped, and it's been put to good use.
It took us 8 rounds, but we got there in the 9th, and Munchkin is just 1 away from Bladestorm, plus he's managed to recover that rifle. This is looking like a fantastic round, and a potential bounce back for a Crazy Raccoons that otherwise have just been dominated at every single turn. Redgar quickly takes down Addy. Those Astra Stars no longer going to be worrisome. And Redgar continues the IGL, certainly thinking he's a duelist in this moment. I mean, when he's playing with just Chronicle having the post-plant capabilities that he does, maybe he is a duelist. Oh, he's been spotted out up close, but this is Chronicle's moment to shine. The flash on its way over. He has been spotted on the backside. Great information to play with, but Crazy Raccoons are falling left, right, and center. Redgar, the last man alive. Post-plant stars are down. Munchkin won't be able to get this defuse in right away. He has to try to bait him into open combat. Another tap necessary. The clock now running low. Halfway defused as he comes off it. Redgar, oh, he's got the flank and near miss. But a win, once again, for GAMBIT. 8 on the board, and there just seems to be nothing that can stop these guys. A massive clutch coming out of the attacking side.
Yeah, both players successful in their re-aggression at the end, and it just seems like even when things get a little bit dicey, a little bit shaky, they just recover like it's absolutely nothing. So, yeah, that is unfortunate, and, well, it doesn't seem like it's going to get any better at this point for Crazy Raccoon if they're going to be down by this far. Again, they've got another purchase. Again, they've got a Bladestorm available, but then you start looking at the ultimates that are still online on the other side, and it doesn't paint a pretty picture.
No, it most definitely doesn't. This operator on Munchkin, I hope, will be the difference maker, something that can really put this defensive side ahead in those early round duels. But again, we know about GAMBIT, man. They just play so slow. They're tucked in, they're waiting, and whilst Crazy Raccoons had the early peak out on B long, they don't see them there. They start to rotate to the A site, where they're going to be heavily stacked up, leaving poor old Fisker all by himself, and GAMBIT still haven't made a decision on where they want to go. They're leaving their options wide open. Chronicle hoping to find an opening on this, and a good connection, but no follow-up. 70 HP left on Fisker.
Yeah, Fisker dances his way out of that one, pulls a rotation to give him a little bit of extra help. The push from Nats, though, he's already found one on the edge of the smoke. This leaves just one defender. They do this every single time. The poison orb removed to give him that extra vision, and Ade's going to be scanned at the back of the site. They have to give it up. Now, they don't have the paint shells. This is what they previously used for denial, but Bazzy has been able to catch out one.
He most certainly has. An opportunity yet again, an open door to potentially walk on through, but it's been tough. GAMBIT constantly winning out in these post plans regardless of the disadvantage. Now a hero is needed. Munchkin sideswipe, 27 HP. The operator comes out now. The Bladestorm has been popped. Plenty of options for him there, but as Addy falls, the numbers start to thin out yet again on that defensive side. The time not in their favor. They have to make their way forward. Shock darts are on the way. A flash in. The Bladestorm, but he's blinded up. There'll be no defuse today. GAMBIT push up to a 9th. How do they keep getting away with these rounds, Tom?
Oh, that one hurt. That one really hurt. Like, he was waiting for it the entire time. Like, literally watching that angle for the full retake, and still ends up getting killed just in pure panic after the flash comes through. He's not even looking at him. Oh, that is just heartbreaking. And Shados in those clutch situations. He's the player that if you ever talk to the guys at GAMBIT, will always hype up Nats. You know, you got the duelist of Defo, but he'll say if we're going to win, if we're going to play well, Shados is the man to watch.
That spray is actually sick. I never noticed that it pulses and changes color. God damn, we're gonna have to get the laptops out, aren't we? Log in on one of these PCs. Well, we're at 9-1, and yeah, we painted the picture this was going to be a very good map for Gambit. You said, hey, 5 or 6 rounds attack, and I think they've got enough in the tank. Well,
9 is more.
Yeah, 9's actually a lot more than 5 or 6. Yeah, it's a bigger number. That's how you know. Quick
They've
math
almost
for you
hit
there.
double digits in the ones in the first
All right,
half.
okay. I know. I can already hear Riv laughing from here. You know that? Thanks a lot, Tom. Thanks a lot. Well, looking for double digits, Gambit. Have a minute left on the clock, and that means another 40 seconds before they start to move their booties, slow it down, take it slow, and hope that they push on in. Defo hasn't been blinded up. Fisker luckily doesn't decide to peek out on it because that op was trained on his position, and even if the shot missed, Shados was there to help out.
You are divided!
Oh, we're going to see the Cosmic Divide thrown down. It seems like a bit of a ruse. Munchkin doesn't even know. And oh dear, Nance's awareness is enough. Good flash through. Fisker's found one. The remaining 2 players on this side, though, they're facing off against the fake. The rest of the players are just walking into B. It's like, guys, I've killed Nance! Oh, there's no spike here.
Planted B, yeah. And I mean, that's one of the problems, man. You know, a normal team's fake is like, hey, go make a little bit of noise, maybe get a kill. And Nance is like,
put your screen up.
Oh,
okay.
What? Bazzi's taking Defo down through the wall. Okay, it's a 1 versus 2. He's got a Rolling Thunder. Unlikely to deploy it right here, but it's so close to the end of the game at the same time. He stepped out.
That
Blast pulse
aftershock
giving
as
him
well.
away.
That aftershock was actually exactly where Chronicle was while he was in the drone. That was really sick. Like the play he made to move back in was cool, but unfortunately he gets tagged by that drone. And wow, Shados ain't gonna miss that shot when he can see through the wall.
Well, I mean, you're gonna use the Rolling Thunder here, right? They have it to play with. 10-1. Well, they got to throw everything they've got at Gambit. That's for damn sure. 1 away from Seekers on Fisker, but so far, even having your Showstopper, your Rolling Thunder, and your Seekers didn't make a damn difference for Crazy Raccoons. In fact, they're finding it hard to even get an opportunity to use these ultimates. The rounds are so slow, but then ending so quickly once contact initiates.
Here we go. Defo moving a little bit quicker this time. Doesn't have his operator in hand, leading the charge and going through the screen. They're just so unaware of these peaks! What is that from Redgar? Just takes off 3 heads as they attempt to get back into the site. They're going to try and push through. Defo's already waiting. It's a Prime Gaming Flawless to close out the half. And dear Lord Gambit, let them breathe.
Well, I mean, there's a lot that we can delve into when it comes to some of these plays from Gambit. Their structure in the first 5, 6, 7 rounds were fantastic, but at a certain point, you kind of have to look at players like Redgar pulling out these 3Ks and go, well, I reckon that's why they're winning, is they are on fire right now.
Let's go!
Yeah, let's go! Oh, God. We can have a round breakdown from this one, because that's going to be fun.
I mean, I'll tell you what, a round breakdown on that would certainly be a little bit tough. I'm looking forward to seeing if we do it or not, because that is the half that we expected in a way, and I think that's sort of the sad thing about it. I was hoping that we would see something more from Crazy Raccoons. That said, we painted the picture right from the start. That composition, once we saw the agents locked in, you're like, you guys are gambling on playing aggressive versus a team that are renowned for their defaults, for their slow plays, for baiting opponents in. They didn't even have to bait them in. They should have waited to start and go, well, look at their comp. They have to push.
I think we might have, like, I think he's Shazam's friend. I think he might be around to, like, talk about this a little bit. Yeah. Has he got the leather on? I hope so, because...
Oh, all right. Well, let's go and find out. I heard that Sean Gares is standing by. And, well, there's a couple of rounds he could have broken down. Let's see what he's chosen.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Mitch. What I'm going to talk about, I told you guys I was going to break down some Nats plays, so I'm gonna bring you guys straight into it. I have a couple rounds where he sets up his Viper utility on this A site, and he was tormenting these poor Raccoons all game long. So let's just start rolling the clip right now, and I'm going to show you his lineups at the start. So this is the wall that's going to cut across this A site. That gives tons of lurk potential, which you're going to see him use in a second. This is actually the smoke that's going to be landing by the U-Haul location. So you can see now, pause it real quick. So when we pause it here, you can see the minimap. The wall is cutting across the A site, right? And this smoke is to his left. He is in between them with an Astra wall now cutting across the entire site. This is actually a crazy set play where a fake was made on the B site, and now Defo and Nats are looping through short A to go showers. This is absolutely crazy and something I have never seen. So let's start rolling the clip. And you can see Nat. Oh, I'm sorry. This is actually one where Nats lurks up, gets the U-Haul frag. We're going to see the next one in 1 second where he lurks through the shower. So this is where he picks up the smoke, repositions it into the U-Haul, and then you can see the Sova takes the positioning. And as we move forward into the round, the breach will actually fault line both of the players. The trade comes in on Chronicle, but Nats stays true despite the fault line and gets the last 2 kills. And here is that second wall that I was referring to. So you can see now the wall is cutting across. Pause real quick. So when we pause here, we can pull up the minimap. You can see this wall is cutting across the A site. This smoke is blocking U-Haul vision. No one on the A site right now has any vision of these Gambit players. They are just in full control in this tiny little hallway heading towards A. And then the beauty comes later on in this round. So start playing now. So as we go through here, we're going to keep speeding it up a little. Keep running it, keep running it. And you can see Nats puts down his Viper wall for Defo to start picking into the A site. And that's when the A hit begins. So you can see the Astra wall will be coming in. And there it is. And Nats immediately takes advantage of this. His smoke goes down. Defo smokes U-Haul. Nats is wrapping into showers. And he's pinching. And Neth is just caught off guard. Nats immediately 180s because he knows Defo has shower control. It's just so beautiful. The way he moves around, picks up his utility, is constantly thinking about how to use that utility to set his team up in these situations. I have never seen a Viper so on point with their utility usage and adapting as the round goes on. So that's what I have for you guys today. Back to what I like to call silver and gold. My boys Mitch and Tom.
All right. Okay. I see how it is. I see how it is.
Goal.
Thank you very much, Sean. We'll sort out another show match someday. But as we move back into the game, we're not expecting a huge comeback here on the attacking side, I have to say. But, you know...
Wait, what? You don't believe?
Look, the comp that they have is very based around aggression. So if there was ever a chance, this is it. The potential massive comeback of Crazy Raccoons and the probable absolute smashing and ending of this map. The pistol round needs to go the way of the attackers, or it is done and dusted, and we'll be looking at map number 2.
I don't know. I think 11 rounds in a row. It's unlikely, but...
Gambit have done it before.
Never. A wise man once said, never say never.
There.
Sure.
Well,
who was that?
I think it was Justin Bieber.
Alrighty. Not quite the reference I was expecting out of you, Tom, but, you know, to each their own. Redgar opening this one up, and I think we start to get the violins out if it continues this way. Nats is up close at his poison orb, waiting for them to barrel on through. Now, of course, you have to be careful of the Sky Flash popping on in, and that's why Nats takes his orb away before they can. But he's dropped down right away. A fight ensues on the site. Shados being pushed down and executed. Munchkin has opened up so much space for Crazy Raccoons, but they need someone to follow up on it. They need a hero in this round to keep them alive. There's an Astra Star on the side of pull and dash out. Redgar lining him up, and he can't finish him off. Oh, a whip comes in at the wrong moment. Fisker has to clutch, and he can't. It's 12-1. A pistol that definitely looked doable for the attackers. Again, falls into the hands of Gambit.
Back to Sean to break that one down.
Yeah, let's get another breakdown out of Sean. My God, this is incredible. I mean, we've already brushed over the reasons why, and we know that coming into the next map, there will be a very different face of Crazy Raccoons, but regardless of all that, it does not feel good to lose a map 13-1.
I would imagine not. Yeah,
no, not great.
Probably not going to be feeling too good about that one. It hasn't happened yet.
But you know what? And let's just say this quickly. Gambit experienced exactly this up against Supermassive
That
Plays. They
is true.
started the series out, they got absolutely slapped 13-1 in the EMEA playoff finals, and then they came back and won the whole series. So you really can't count out Crazy Raccoons. We know this is a poor map, and I'm hoping for a lot more when it comes into the next. There have been signs of life, but it's these nasty plays. It's the levels above that Gambit are playing when it comes to this map on some players like Nats, like Defo. They're just so comfortable right now.
Yeah, like even when rounds have been close, there's been clutches out from Gambit every single time, but we'll see what they can do here. Of course, we've got a decent investment coming through for Crazy Raccoon. They've got to try and win this round, even though there's a lot more invested on the other side than you'd normally expect. Nats is actually going to play within his poison orb. The flash is so perfect! Straight through. Neth didn't even know what hit him, and he's even going to trade his own life, the martyrdom, to give them the man advantage further into this round.
This is not feeling good at all for Crazy Raccoons. They're at a man disadvantage moving in towards this site with pistols and a Marshall. The first is taken down and the second follows swiftly.
Down, B.
I think it's safe to say that this is Gambit's map. This is not a map that you want to be messing with the CIS squad on, and the Japanese side have learned that the hard way.
Yeah, it's not been great. 13-1.
Defenders
I
win.
think, correct me if I'm wrong, that's the most dominant map we've seen.